Ahoy!
Happy birthday.
Hey!
Here you go. Open your present. See what it is.
Oh, thanks! My friend Pedro?
I wanted to get you something that you didn't have.
Bananas?
No! Friends!
What? Oh, hell yeah.
Friendship. It's a magical thing that started when two cavemen oogled at each other and now we're here. Friendship has led to many good things and many bad things, but let's focus on what's important. Gaming. Friendship in gaming is wonderful. Having someone next to you, plugging in a second controller, and just creating fun memories playing beside each other or against each other. Playing a game with friends can squeeze some positive experiences out of games that aren't good to begin with. But what if you can't have someone over? What if you're just bad with people?
Did you at least have fun at your mom's funeral?
Well, thanks to the cavemen ooga-boogling at each other, we have the internet, and now we can play with our friends online, or even meet people online and they become our friends. I'm not the biggest online gamer, but I always hear about those online homies and how heartbreaking it is to see that last online next to their name. But yes, we have had friendships over online gaming despite the fact that we gamers say the most horrible things imaginable to each other. If one ever wonders why a god hasn't descended from the heavens to save humanity from its difficulties, it's because he's heard what's been said on Xbox Live. But let's take online out of the equation. Let's remove access to the outside world. What friendship can gaming bring me now?
Don't read too much into anything I just said. It has nothing to do with what we're discussing today. I'm just looking for an excuse to talk about a bunch of games that I have on my shelf that have the word friend in it. Why? Because it's my birthday and I want to.
Here's the lineup. Now, Little Friends, Dogs and Cats is a game I've already made a video on. It's from my era of video making where I sped talk for 5 minutes about a game without really saying much. But somehow, my video on Little Friends, Dogs and Cats actually managed to be a full-fledged and functional review, and it was only 3 minutes. It's a simple game, a pet simulator where you check up on your pet's needs and then put the game away and come back to them. I haven't popped this thing open since I did the review, so I wonder how Lithium, Isaac, and Nasaro are all doing. Oh fuck, bury that. Now I do also have Nintendogs Lab and Friends, which is pretty much the same thing. I am disqualifying it because we here at Soblev Productions have not yet figured out how to capture DS footage, so till then any reviews on DS games will have to wait. So anyway, first up is Friends, the one with all the trivia on the PlayStation 2. So Friends was a mega popular TV series from the mid-90s to mid-2000s, though because it's considered one of, if not the greatest sitcom in cable television history, people hate it. I don't know, it's definitely one of those things people just hate on something because it's popular. Personally, I like the show. I wouldn't binge watch it these days, but if I'm ever in a hotel room and see Friends on TV, I'll watch it. But anyway, wanting to capitalize on the crazed fandom of the TV show, Artec and Warner Brothers decided to pump out a game for it. A trivia game no less, for crazed Friends fans to lose their mind over and test their friends' knowledge. Now the title of the game is pretty cute, the one with all the trivia. I say this because every Friends episode starts with the one with, like each episode is a story being told by a group of friends at a coffee shop. Remember the one where I stabbed ya?
Welcome to Friends, the one with all the trivia.
Thank you.
You know, I was taking my time looking through the menu and the game made fun of me for it.
Sure, you don't need this explained.
So to jump in, we had two options, quick start and start game.
Yeah, I'm trying to get through this quickly, so quick start's gonna be the way to go.
Janice tells me that I'm playing in decaf mode where there is no timer, and then when I get my first question, I see a timer.
You fucking lied to me!
Now, whatever game you picture in your head on what a trivia game about Friends is going to be, it's 90% likely you guessed exactly right. It's a simple game with flashcards asking questions from Friends episodes or showing clips and asking us to either give the next line, identify the context of the scene, or just see if we remember what shirt someone was wearing. We get our 4 options, we answer the question, and we advance depending on whether or not we got it right or not. So Friends, the one with all the trivia, accomplishes exactly what it wants to be, a fun trivia game about a hit TV show. But there is a natural problem with a game like this.
I didn't watch this shit.
Yeah, when you do a trivia game about a specific type of show, you do alienate anyone who didn't watch it. And sure, maybe that's the point. This is a game that was released a year after the show went off the air and is here to satisfy the cravings of Friends fans with 3,000 questions. So at the time, this game was probably a brilliant idea, but it definitely never had a chance in its sense of staying power. It's been over 15 years since the last Friends season aired, so we have a whole generation of people who never watched the show, and the people who did watch it probably moved on already. I watched every Friends episode back in the day, yet in this trivia game, I only answered roughly 17% of the questions correctly. Which, hey, is better than how I did in high school chemistry. So I can comfortably say that this game is for anyone who's binged Friends recently, but if you hadn't, it's probably a skip. Anyway, let's move on to our next game, My Friend Peppa Pig. I came into this game when I was at GameStop, I know, I'm ashamed, and saw this and it just looked funny. So Peppa Pig is a British morning cartoon show. I haven't watched it, so I entered this game blind without any knowledge of the lore of Peppa Pig. It starts with Peppa Pig introducing herself and asking if we want to be her friend.
Sure.
She goes home and tells her family of a new friend she has coming to town and all the places she wants to show them. We create our character and the game has a surprising amount of choices. I went with a yellow mouse. So here's the gameplay. We get to move left, we get to move right, we press the A button to interact with objects, and that's it really. We meet up with Peppa Pig at her house, and from there the two of them just roam around town and go on little adventures. The game doesn't force you into doing anything. At one point, Peppa Pig's brother loses his dinosaur toy, so we go on a quest to find it, but I got distracted and ended up going to a preschool instead. We went on a field trip to a museum that my family came along with, and hey, it looks like my brother got his toy back on his own.
Ah yes, teaching kids a valuable life lesson. Ignore your problems until they resolve themselves.
Any thoughts of the game? Well, two actually. A is that this game is cute. I'd let my 3-year-old child play this game. B is, gosh, this game is f***ing boring. Slow pace, not much gameplay wise. Anything your character ends up doing like drawing a picture, running a race, or jumping in mud just requires you to press the A button over and over again.
Okay, so the game's asking me to toss this salad. Should be fun.
Well done.
What the hell am I doing?
Now anybody who's thinking, duh, of course this game is mindless, look at the cover. Well, my response is, I know, but look at the cover. See that? E for everyone? That's misleading. I always hate when people associate a game that gets an E rating as a kid's game. No, E is for everyone, which means everyone can play and have fun with it. My Friend Peppa Pig is rated E for everyone, and it is not for everyone. This game is a prime candidate for that rare EC rating. That thought especially crossed my mind when at the menu I saw you can set a timer in the parental controls for amount of minutes of playtime before a break kicks in. Kinda reminded me of that Bowser video where Bowser Jr. learned what a dictatorship was. It maxes out at 20 minutes, and when the time you selected is reached, whatever you are doing gets interrupted by a shot of Peppa Pig getting sleepy, so we get back to her room.
Nice.
This is a kid's game.
And we go to sleep. But the game doesn't lock you out from playing, cause all you have to do is press A to wake yourself up and continue playing. It sucks as parental controls, but it does give a Majora's Mask feel of having a limited amount of time to work with throughout your day.
That felt like a weird comparison.
But yeah, My Friend Peppa Pig is a dud, and I'll only take this out once I have a 3-year-old to play with.
Ah, you know what I mean.
Why am I friends with you?
You're not even real. God.
It's time for our main event, My Friend Pedro. So to a lot of people, you look at this game and you're like, what the f*** is this? Blood, bullets, bananas.
Ah yes, the original rock, paper, scissors.
We jump straight into it and we come face to face with the banana in mind, Pedro, who wakes up our masked and nameless protagonist and tells us that we have to get the hell out of there. So we grab a gun and start popping monsters left and right, and now I know what kind of game My Friend Pedro is. It's a 2D Max Payne. The game is a 2D shooter that features some parkour, platforming, and light puzzle solving. And you know what? It's an awesome 2D shooter that features parkour, platforming, and light puzzle solving. See, the thing about parkour games is that the controls can be really intimidating. But My Friend Pedro is actually really easy to just grab and go. In terms of combat, we are always aiming and use the right stick to point the direction of our gun, and we use the right trigger to fire. Our right stick moves our character and we can hold it down to crouch, but if we move it to the side, we start rolling. Yeah. The X button is our jump button, and to bounce off walls, you just gotta press X again. We have a button to dodge upcoming bullets by doing a little spin, and by pressing L3 we enter bullet time where we can fly through the air in slow-mo and fill our enemies with lead. Something else that's pretty cool is that when we are using dual weapons like either the dual pistols or Uzis, we can aim at 2 separate enemies at the same time. To do that, we aim at the first enemy and hold the left trigger to lock onto them, and use the right stick to aim the other gun and aim for a second enemy and use the right trigger to fire both guns at the same time. Now sure, that does sound like a lot to do in a short amount of time, especially with how chaotic this game is, but that's why we thank Pedro for bullet time, which gives us plenty of time to pull off these sick sequences. Playing this game makes you feel like Deadpool, and when you jump during bullet time, your character does flips in the air, making you look a lot more skilled than you probably are. The combat sequences are fun too, because there isn't much in terms of limitations. You can do all the awesome stuff while hanging upside down from a rope, swing across the battlefield, and there are even some levels where we are continuously falling or on a motorcycle. My friend Pedro is pretty badass, and it really pushes for high octane offense and creating a game of rad-tacular highlights. At the end of each level, Pedro gives us a grade based on the points we accumulate, and on the right we get a screen showing off our sickest moment. Now the story of My Friend Pedro is that we are trying to take down a mob family, and Pedro here acts as our guide in a pretty hilarious way. The game is not to be taken seriously, as we have a whole chapter where we are in the sewers fighting off gamers who try to kill us while they yell LOL or noob at us. And you know what? That is what is endearing about My Friend Pedro. It's a game that's just meant to be ludicrous for the sake of being ludicrous, and it accomplishes that very goal. At one point, Pedro takes us into his world where the gravity is all f***y and we need to help him take out some haters. Jumping to the end, we discover the truth that the mob we're trying to take out is actually our family, and the final boss is against our sister. We take her on in a boss battle that manages to be equal parts tame in this game's standard, yet still somehow pretty sick. You are fighting yourself, she moves around like you and dodges like you, and the fight has a sick anime feel to it, like when two equals have an epic battle because they're so evenly matched. I hope that last statement doesn't make me sound like an anime fan. I swear I'm not, it's just a comparison.
Anyway, beating her does still feel satisfying, and while this may not be the flashiest final boss battle you expect from a game like this, it still manages to be a oh my god, why is Pedro trying to kill us? No! 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 Resist the banana!
This game takes a twist in the end. Our friend Pedro turns on us, and we get a proper mentally ludicrous, flashy beyond belief boss battle against the giant Pedro as we fly through the sky riding a flying walrus.
What the fuck is this game?
After all is said and done, we get a cutscene showing our characters take off his mask and show us, well, that.
My Friend Pedro is a really good game. It just throws mindless fun at you with some humor and sick action sequences, and I miss when games used to just do that. Throw you in. The game is available on both Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4, but the thing about the PS4 is, it had a limited run.
At the back of every box of this game, you'll see a box that has a number added 2000. That's because there are only 2,000 copies of My Friend Pedro available on the PlayStation 4, meaning that the demand for this game is going to get a bit dicey. I've noticed the cost of this game being about $40 2 years ago, but recently on eBay I haven't seen the game available for less than $70. My Friend Pedro might be on the path of being one of those rare games that are worth quite the buck, like Cubivore. Probably the most ludicrously expensive game that I personally want to own is Poop Slinger on the PS4. That game only has 84 copies in existence and it sells for at least $6,000.
Damn. So My Friend Pedro is going to help me buy Poop Slinger. I am going to sell this game at a ridiculously high markup and use that money to buy Poop Slinger. But there's a problem. I'd have a My Friend Pedro shaped hole in my shelf.
Okay, solving this crisis, I bought a second copy of My Friend Pedro so that I can keep one and sell the other. Hell, this one came shrink wrapped.
Now it's time to just sit back and watch the money pour in. Okay, this is taking too long. It's probably because the game isn't that rare yet, so the demand isn't there. So I need to find a way to speed things up.
So I decided to buy a third copy of My Friend Pedro just so that I can destroy it and decrease the supply and hopefully increase the demand.
Genius! I can smell Poop Slinger already.